Hello everyone, and welcome to the Paint and Picnic virtual workshop. Today we are going to be making the cutest little tulip bouquet. If you miss any of these paints, don't worry, they'll be marked in the description box below. So we're first going to start by taking our canvas from a landscape to a portrait style, and we're going to be working towards the bottom of our canvas. So the first thing we're going to need is our pencil. We're just going to be outlining our sketch. So starting from the bottom right-hand corner of the canvas, roughly 2 inches from the inside, we're going to go ahead and make 2 lines perpendicular to each other. And then we're going to do the same thing to the left and the same thing twice to the right. Now these are going to be making our tulips, so it's okay if they're not perfect. We're going to be painting over these stems later, but this is going to give us our general placement. So if you want to make these bigger, smaller, wider, slightly angled towards one side, this is the time to do that. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and add our leaves to each of our stems. Now we want each stem to have its own little leaf. I'm just doing that by making 2 lines that go out and connect with a point at the top. From there, we're going to go ahead and make the outline of our tulip. I'm just doing this by making 2 lines to the side and an oval in the middle, and this is just going to make our petals. And once again, guys, this does not have to be perfect. We're just doing a rough outline, kind of seeing where the shape we want it to be. We do want to go ahead and keep these thin. As you can see on this one part, I made a pretty big swipe, and that's fine. We can just go ahead and reshape it and erase that later. From there, we're just going to be going in and finishing up this last tulip. Beautiful. And adding in any extra details we have. This is also a great time to clean up those edges, like I said. From there, we're going to go ahead and go in with this beautiful light green paint. We're already going to be starting in on our leaves. Now, from here, you guys can be as sloppy or as neat as you want. Just keep in mind, this is going to be our finished product. You will not be able to touch this up later. So do take your time on it and make it look the way you want it to.
So we're going to go ahead.
As you can see, I'm also adding that little top bulb part, and I'm just doing that by adding 2 swipes down onto our flower. And as you can see, I've made some of these stems thicker and some of these stems smaller. It really just depends on what type of look you're going for. From there, we're going to be going in with the dark green paint, and this is where we're adding in our accents. So we're just going to be going over and rounding out each of our leaves and just highlighting each stem, kind of creating this definition to each one of our flowers. And you can add more or less here. It just kind of depends, once again, on what type of look you're going for. And we're just finishing up these last 2. Perfect.
4K, 60 frames per second.
And from there, we're going to be going ahead and we're going to go in with our dark pink paint. We're going to start working on our tulips. So I'm just starting and rounding out each one of those petals that we had made a mark for.
For what?
For like the frames per second, like would you want it 4K video?
And we can take our flat brush and really pull this to the side. This is going to be the majority of the color for our tulips, so do keep that in mind.
Storage like up to this. It has 6 hours of storage.
Just very carefully swiping across. And I'm not using a lot of paint here, guys. You need very, very little paint. We want to kind of keep that white color showing through. And you just do that by wiping off the paint. As you can see, as you start getting less paint on that brush, it'll make that thin mark across the canvas and kind of keep that white color.
It doesn't make a huge difference.
There we go, highlighting each one of these.
Like I said,
and our last drawn tulip. And as you can see, I'm adding a little bit more. This is a great moment to also reshape our tulips if we want to. We can add a little bit more definition, a little less definition. It really just depends on what we're going for here.
I might be better at this. I might like it better like that anyways.
We're just touching up each of these edges, kind of making it this darker pink color.
If you want to, yeah.
Perfect. Okay, and these last 2 flowers.
I mean, I'm good with my phone, babe.
Kind of darkening it up a little bit.
I guess. It's true.
Yeah, I turned it off. It's fucking cool, babe.
Yeah, it is.
Now from there, I'm going to go ahead and go in with this darker purple color. And we're just going to be sweeping across the top with each of our layers. This is also where we can kind of play with it. We can dabble back and forth in between that lighter pink and that darker purple. And just add that direct swipe that's going to make it look like each individual petal. Perfect. Okay, and from there, we're going to go ahead and go in with these two green colors, and we're just going to be speckling back and forth. This is going to add a little bit of texture to our painting, and it's also just going to balance out the piece overall. Now, you can add more or less. I do recommend keeping that stippling towards the bottom of the canvas. That way it doesn't get too out of hand and kind of overbalance the piece.
Yeah, it is.
As you can see from here, I'm just adding in an extra leaf, and this is going to be our 5th flower. Now, I did want to add this one in a little bit more spontaneously, and I'm also going through and I'm adding any extra leaves or foliage that I might want. As you can see, this is where I go ahead and pull up my stem for that last flower. Okay, from here we're going to be going in with our mixed pink and purple brush, and we're just going to be making a makeshift tulip. Now, this one doesn't need to look exactly identical to the other ones. This is just kind of adding a little bit extra to the canvas and just balancing out our piece. Now, you can make this flower higher or smaller depending on how you want that shape to turn out of that overall bouquet, but I wanted to go ahead and make mine a little bit higher today. Okay, guys, and then from here, we're just going to be adding little dabbles. This is going to kind of create the illusion of some smaller back foliage or back flowers, and it's just going to add an overall more balanced look to our piece. Once our canvas is completely dry, we're going to go ahead and go in with a Sharpie marker, and we're just going to add in our accents. We're going to be highlighting our stems, highlighting our flowers. Don't try to overline here. We're not outlining everything. We're just adding a little bit more definition to everything where you would see different spots or where you want a different focal point to be in your piece. Like I said, you're going to be outlining the flowers, the leaves, the foliage, just any little extra marks you want to add here. From here, we're going to go ahead and add all of our little hearts, just making this cute little heart shape here. And that's it, you guys. You can add as many or as little hearts as you want. If you want, you can change them into stars. Like I said, this just helps balance out the piece. And that's it. That's our beautiful flower bouquet. Thanks for coming along with us.